Hello, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this special event, this outreach event hosted by AIIC Africa. I thank all the Bureau of AIIC in our region here, and thank all the participants who've been able to make it this morning. I know many of you have tight schedules, and despite that, you've made time to join us on this event. I'm really happy, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to this session about joining AIIC. Join AIIC, AIIC International Association of Conference Interpreters. I am really happy to be here. I wish all of you a happy, prosperous New Year 2021. This said, I will come back to my screen again and share my screen with all of you here. Sorry, just give me one. Okay, this is it. Join AIIC, Dare to Soar. The outline here, as you can see, first of all, introduction, who is talking to you, and a short story. After that, we'll talk about AIIC, the International Association of Conference Interpreters, and what is in it for you while in the first place you want to join AIIC. So we'll touch on that, and then the prerequisites and process, and then we'll look at the tips. And I think that's the part where I am bringing much of my input. Ready, steady, apply. So keeping meeting records and statistics, very important in the AIIC membership process. Negotiating sponsors, how do you go about that? And then we'll talk of making AIIC ethics a way of life, and also saving for the future. So without further ado, introduction, I am Moudachirou Gbadamassi, AIIC conference interpreter. I'm a proud member of AIIC since 2017, and I'm a staff interpreter with the ECOWAS Economic Community of West African States. We are said to be the most dynamic and one of the best RECs in Africa, regional economic communities in Africa. Really proud to be here at ECOWAS. So as I said, I'm a member of AIIC since 2017. I'm a life coach, and I'm an author as well. I'm the author of The Use of Proverbs in African Literature, the case study of The Dance of the Forest by Wole Soyinka. It's available on many platforms online. If you look, just Google Coach Moudachirou Gbadamassi, The Use of Proverbs in African Literature, and so on, and you get that. So I would like to give you the floor. Also, I would like to know some of the people around here, just to have an idea. Mia, I recognize your presence. I can see you here. I can see Doyen Eviano Achakobe. Thank you for being here. Rania Ahmed. I can say, Rania Ahmed, could you please tell us where you have joined us from?
Okay, good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. Welcome, Rania.
Welcome. I'm from Egypt. I'm from Faculty of Al-Alsun, Ain Shams University.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Aya Omran. Aya Omran.
Yes, hello.
Hello. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you so
much.
From? From Egypt as well. The Faculty of Al-Alsun, Ain Shams University.
Fantastic. Awesome. I can see David Sokeng. Thank you for being here. Brandon Moult. Brandon, how are you doing?
Hello, everyone. I'm Brandon. I'm in Cape Town, South Africa, and I studied interpreting last year, so I'm very new to the profession.
Thank you. Welcome. Darlene Tanke, I hope I'm not mispronouncing your name. Darlene Tanke.
Yes.
Yeah, thank
good
you
afternoon.
For being here.
Darlene
yeah,
Tanke, I'm connecting. I'm from Cameroon.
Fantastic.
Yaoundé, Advanced School of Translator and Interpreter, ASTI.
Asti, fantastic.
Boya.
Fantastic. Boya, Boya, fantastic.
Student
Yes.
interpreter.
Thank you. Congratulations. Iman Mustafa El-Ghandi. Iman? Hello. Okay, Ephraim Kamanzi. Ephraim Kamanzi.
Hello.
Hello.
My name is Ephraim Kamanzi. I'm a conference interpreter based in Nairobi, Kenya, and a member of AIIC. A proud member of AIIC, should I say.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for your support. Thank you for the support. I can see Madam Elizabeth Kwaovi, one of my trainers. Very, very happy to see her around. Uzebia Nwasaru. Uzebia Nwasaru.
Good afternoon. My name is Isra. I'm a first-year student at the University of Nairobi Center of Translation and Interpretation. Obviously, yes. Logging in from Nairobi, and Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy to have you on board. Merna El-Khatib. Merna El-Khatib, I guess maybe Egypt. Ain Shams.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Khatib. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Vidya Jaite, thank you so much. Doyen Vidya, thank you. Thank you. I'm very happy.
Great to be with you, Muda. Great to be with you, and happy to see how successful you've become.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's thanks to all of you. Winmal Letitia Somi. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Winmal Letitia Somi.
Yes. Yeah. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm Winmal. I'm Winmal from Burkina Faso, student interpreter at Asti Boya, Cameroon.
Congratulations. Thank you for being with us. Thank you very much. I'm going back to my outline. We'll have about 1 hour of presentation. My talk will last around 1 hour. And then you have 1 hour questions and answers. So the other participants will have the opportunity to take the floor, introduce themselves, and share with us their insights about my talk. Now, I would like to say a big thank you to Madam Jibola, one of my trainers as well. I'm really, really happy to see you around. And also Doyen Elolokumoji, one of my mentors. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. So for those who have had the opportunity to follow my talks, I like to start with short stories. This is my personal touch. And the short story I will share with you this morning is this one. I called it The Lucky Tenant. The Lucky Tenant. It's about a tenant who moved to a new house, where when he moved to the new house, they told him that rent is supposed to be paid every 5th of the month, of the new month. And he just noticed after moving in that the house manager, that people call in some parts of Africa, the caretaker, the person in charge or that has been appointed by the landlord to manage the house and who collects the rent, he doesn't bother. He will just keep calm. Sometimes, even if the rent is late till the 10th of the month before paying, he wouldn't react. He doesn't bother. Whenever the new tenant pays, he's fine. He know nothing. So about 6-7 months down the road, the new tenant was one day discussing with one of his neighbors, another tenant in the house, and he was telling that tenant about how kind, generous, wonderful the house manager was, that he compared to when he used to be in another house where you always have calls, even late calls to request for the payment of the rent, even before the end of the month, and messages will be sent, reminders to collect the rent. He just noticed that this house manager, for him, is one of the most wonderful persons on earth. So he doesn't care. It doesn't matter. Whenever he pays, it's okay for him. And the other tenant was kind of flabbergasted, surprised. How come? Are we talking about the same person? So yes. Oh, how come? Before the end of the month, he will call me, send me a reminder about the rent. And if I mistakenly forget not to pay the rent before the 5th of the month, it's a huge problem. He will call, he will shout, even sometimes in front of my wife. So are we talking about the same person here? So yes, of course we're talking. I'm surprised. He's so kind. He never asked me, he never came to me to request for the rent. Well, and it's like, okay, are we talking about the same person? He gave the name. Yes, of course, I'm talking about this same guy. Well, he went on to discuss with another tenant who said the same thing about the guy, that he will put pressure, a lot of harassment to get the pay. Well, this is where this story stops. I stop it here. Now, my question to you is that, what does this story tell you? What does it tell you? Anyone who wants to just share with us, what does this short story tell you? Hello, can everyone hear me? Hello?
Yes.
Yes, please. Who is this? Hello?
Hello, me, I can hear you. This is Dauda Suleiman Dambele.
Dambele, yes, please go ahead. You have joined the meeting from where, please?
From Cameroon, the Pan-African University.
Oh, fantastic.
Student
Great.
interpreter.
Great. So you want to share your thought about this short story. Go ahead, please.
I just wanted to tell that we are listening to you and we are getting you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, we'll come back to the story later. You see why I shared that story later on in this talk. We're done with the short story about AIIC. AIIC, the International Association of Conference Interpreters, the association we're all proud of, we members, has been established in 1953. That's 68 years ago. AIIC has over 3,000 members in more than 100 countries around the world. It's one of the largest, or I would even say the most relevant worldwide association of conference interpreters. The headquarters of AIIC, the International Association of Conference Interpreters, is in Geneva, Switzerland. And AIIC advocates for members and non-members. You note here that non-members, I put it in capital because the actions and interventions of AIIC is not limited to its members. The actions that, even though primarily AIIC defends and advocates for its members, the impact is for all the profession, for the profession in its entirety, members and non-members alike. So it is very important to note that, which is the reason why I capitalized the non-members. And then something I want to say here, AIIC is not a sect. It is not. I am a Muslim. Many members are Christians, probably have Buddhists, people who practice African traditional religions, people who sing the U every morning, Ek people, and many others. So AIIC is not a sect. I will not dwell too long on this because these are information you can readily get online on AIIC's website. So I would like to focus most of my intervention, my talk, on things that I think are not readily available on the website, things that you cannot Google and get. So what's in it for you? This is one of the most important parts of the talk. I conducted a micro survey. I called it micro survey because it's just a few senior colleagues that I reached out to ask them. So please tell me, after those many years, or after joining AIIC, because you cannot come out of school and become a member directly. You have the pre-candidacy phase and then the candidacy phase as well, before you become a member, a full member of AIIC. So after becoming a member of AIIC, what's the biggest added value that AIIC brought to you? So many of them responded, and well, I was so happy to read about what they told me. There is a Yoruba proverb, and this is this is maybe the author speaking. I said earlier on that I'm the author of The Use of Proverbs in African Literature, which is the reason why I inserted a Yoruba proverb here. When a leaf stays long in contact with soap, it becomes soap. This is a Yoruba proverb. By the way, this is my own translation. When a leaf stays long in contact with soap, it becomes soap. AIIC members are top interpreters, people working with the highest quality and with excellence, with competencies, with highest levels of skill. And when you are in contact with AIIC members, when you work in that circle of people whose motto is quality, excellence, and the best output, well, I believe when the leaf stays long in contact with soap, it becomes soap. There's no way you will not be impacted by that constant and continuous quest for excellence and quality. And this is something any professional will be looking for. If you are a professional in any trade, for that matter, you probably looking for improving yourself on a daily basis, improving your level. AIIC, being a member of AIIC will help you improve your level. Many of the senior colleagues that I talked to did mention that AIIC has enabled them to improve their level, not only to improve as someone speaking in the past, but it's continuously challenging themselves and continuously improving themselves through trainings, through training sessions, and through personal research, through the desire, the will itself of being always better than what one was in the past. I mean, looking for your better self. Well, when I mentioned the AEU here, the European Union, why in the first place do people come together? It's because together we stand, divided we fall. When you are together, you are stronger, of course, because you can now speak with one voice. Professional associations are similar to that. You come together as an association to defend your rights, to defend whatever it is that the association needs to defend. And like any profession, people outside the profession do not always know the realities of the profession. Interpreting as a profession, people just think, okay, the interpreter is just someone parroting, someone is speaking English and the other one is interpreting into French. And so you just repeating in French what the other is saying in English. It's so simple, it's so, they don't know. So every profession has, this obligation to let people know what it is that the profession is, and also to advocate for the profession, because from outside, it always looks like the other person's profession is easy. And because when you're really trained as a good interpreter, when a good interpreter is interpreting, I'm telling you, you have that feeling that interpreting is so easy. It's so easy. That's the impression you have, which is not always right. It's not that easy. It's because the interpreter you're listening to is well-trained, is experienced, and that's how you can feel, well, interpreting is so easy. Someone speaking Arabic and the other one interpreting into Chinese or whatever. So simple is your language, you're just speaking. Well, the association is all about that. When you join AIIC, you showing your pride of being a member of that profession. Is the sense of belonging. When I was trying to advocate for the new Association of Conference Interpreters in Benin, called ANITEB, I was one of the people who revamped the association. I was telling colleagues that, see, ordinary Zemi-Jans. For those who are not Beninese, Zemi-Jans are those called Okada in Nigeria. I think Kabu Kabu in some countries, I don't know. And those are bike riders, they have association. If ordinary, I'm sorry, I'm not when saying ordinary, I don't mean their profession is inferior to our profession, but what I mean is when drivers have associations, why won't interpreters have association? We're talking here about elite profession. We're talking about the top of the top. Interpreting is elite profession. So if drivers, farmers, cocoa farmers, yam farmers, cassava farmers, if the ordinary market women have their associations, why won't interpreters have theirs? So it's even a matter of pride of for the interpreter to say, well, I am an interpreter. My sense of belonging to show that I'm proud to be an interpreter, let me join an association. Very important. The other thing is building trust. Many colleagues that I surveyed in my micro survey, I mentioned this once more, is a micro survey. They did mention that it builds trust in two ways. One is their own self-confidence. When you become AIIC member, there's a sense that now I am different from what I was before, because now I'm a member of a global association, ready to defend my rights as a profession and all that. But also it builds the trust of your customers, your clients. When there are organizations that will always give preference to AIIC members, many organizations, I do mention this again, will give preference to AIIC members. That's trust, because they trust AIIC. They trust AIIC as an association that provides excellence, quality interpreting, quality job, excellence in everything, skillful interpreters, talented interpreters. So the trust that AIIC, joining AIIC enables you to build is building trust, not only with your clients, but also building your self-confidence, the trust, and trust of colleagues as well. Because very often your colleagues can be kind of client or middle clients. When a colleague, a consultant interpreter, for example, is requested to recruit a team of interpreters for a meeting, if you are a member of AIIC, it builds the trust of the colleague reaching out to you, that this colleague I'm reaching out to has some experience, 150 days, and also probably trained one way or the other, whether from an official interpreting school or else. He's a trained interpreter and he's defending, this is very important, the standards of the profession and also the ethics of the profession. AIIC also, joining AIIC, if you join AIIC, Rania, I hope you're listening to me, if you join AIIC after your training, you will become more visible. Visibility here, what I'm talking about is not only, you see, you have AIIC directory. If you Google Moudachirou Gbadamassi, that's my name, one of the first results in Google you'll see is AIIC. You see, member of AIIC interpreter based in Abuja now, staff interpreter with ECOWAS, Economic Community of West African States and all. So being a member of AIIC gives you visibility, and it enables other clients who have never known you, who have never heard about you, to reach out to you. This is fundamental. This is key. This is extremely important, especially for new interpreters. I mean, budding interpreters, those who just graduated. Because when you graduate freshly from the university, it's not always easy. The first years as an interpreter, it's not always easy. But if you have an association like AIIC, which can give you that visibility, fantastic. Is bingo, is something you should jump on. This is an opportunity. And AIIC gives you the visibility, not only in terms of the directory, but also through the events. AIIC, like these events that we are organizing, at least today, colleagues, we have senior interpreters here. We have recruiters here, like my trainer, Madame Kwaovi. And we have trainers and we have recruiters, we have employers around in this event. And hearing that there's someone called Mia, Maria Neme, or Rania, or Mr. Dembele, is also, you give him visibility yourself by participating and attending events such as this. So AIIC does give you the visibility. And here, money, sorry to put it that way, money. People will say the sinew of war. Well, I put it money here because youngsters nowadays, more often than not, think in terms of money. Well, being a member of AIIC gives you more money. And let me explain what I mean here. Yeah, I don't mean there's a tree producing money where you just go and pluck from. But what I mean here is that during the pandemic, when the pandemic started in, I believe, November 2019, and we're still suffering from the impact of the pandemic, AIIC has what is called Solidarity Fund. And the Solidarity Fund is to help colleagues who have difficulties. Because of the pandemic, many meetings have been canceled. Well, I don't even need to elaborate on this. You know the impact of the pandemic, and the Solidarity Fund comes in rescue, giving direct fund, money, direct cash to colleagues who are in difficulties, who request such. So AIIC, joining AIIC does give you money for those circumstances. And money in terms of better contracts. Instead of working for, second zone clients, sorry to call them that way, who pay you even 50,000 francs CFA, that's 50,000 CFA francs in some countries. Well, joining AIIC and becoming a member of AIIC will avoid such circumstances probably, and you'll be having better clients. You are paying for the quality and the level of the service you're providing. And well, your health. By abiding by AIIC standards and code of ethics, you will be healthier, because colleagues who don't abide by the working conditions, the standards set out by AIIC, after many studies conducted by the research committee and the health committee and other bodies of AIIC, colleagues who do not abide by those standards have a higher risk, higher probability of falling sick due to the way they're working and the conditions under which they work. By joining AIIC, you will be working in better health, better conditions, and better conditions will translate into better health for yourself. And better health is money you're saving. The money that you use in the hospital, you're saving that money. So it's more have been by OIC. Hello, sorry all, very quickly, I forgot to start with the housekeeping. Please, if you're not speaking, do mute your microphone. I will urge all of us, or anyone, Suleiman Conte, please, could you please mute your microphone? Okay. Whoever is not speaking, we'll have the Q&A session after about 1 hour. So please, all those who are not speaking, who don't have the floor, kindly mute your microphone. Suleiman Conte, if you can hear me, could you please?
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you. I'll mute it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, brother.
You're welcome. Yes. Yes, globetrotting. When I moved from the African region to Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, that's Arab region, I felt at home. I felt at home because, you know, I kept receiving the newsletter from the region. Colleagues wished me welcome to our new region and all this. So from Abidjan to Jeddah, when I moved that, I felt at home. And there are many cases of colleagues who move from one region to the other, from one country to the other. So if you like globetrotting, if you like traveling and moving around in the world has become a global village. The world has become a global village. It's known to all. So AIIC gives you the opportunity wherever you go. If you are in Buea, Cameroon, and you want to continue your career in South Africa, with AIIC, well, you feel at home. When you get to South Africa, colleagues, AIIC members will welcome you, and yeah, there you go. So now let me talk a little bit about AIIC versus national associations. In many countries, you have national associations. So if you already, I'm just trying to anticipate on some questions, I guess. If you're already a member of the National Association, like in Benin, I've seen Angèle Biao connected. Welcome, Angèle Biao. If you are a member of ANITEB, that is the Association Nationale des Interprètes, Traducteurs et Équipementiers du Bénin, the National Association of Interpreters and affiliated or related professions in Benin, the question might be, well, I'm already a member of ANITEB. Why will I join AIIC? Well, because AIIC has a global reach. AIIC is the global association, and your national association is national. And in fact, in some countries, to be specific, in Côte d'Ivoire, for example, the National Association is now trying to revamp and to introduce new reforms. And amongst those reforms, you have the categorization of interpreters. And I think you have various group 1, group 2, group 3, various, something like that, various categories. And the top categories of interpreters, for those members in Côte d'Ivoire, I hope we have AIIC colleagues from Côte d'Ivoire around who can testify and later on take the floor to speak to what I'm saying here now. When you are already a member of AIIC, membership of the National Association is automatic, is direct. You don't need to be vetted. You don't need to, to go through various processes and having a sponsor, someone to speak for you, someone to defend. Yes, I know him. He does this and that. So this shows you how important AIIC is for the National Association in Côte d'Ivoire to decide that all AIIC members who work in Côte d'Ivoire are automatically members of the National Association, if they so wish, is a recognition that AIIC is the global voice for conference interpreters, which is really great. So even if you are already a member of a national association, Angèle Biao and others, please do consider, do join AIIC, because joining AIIC will add more to what you already have. So those are the items in green. I've provided for items in red here. So what's in it for you, that's what you have in green. Now, what's not in it in AIIC? What's not in it then? Interprocultism. This is a word I have coined. That's Moudachirou for you. Interprocultism is what? In some countries, some people who are here will probably identify themselves with what I'm saying here. There's a kind of occultism around the profession, whereby a senior colleague, in most cases, I can even dare to say in all cases who are not AIIC members, will invite you, recruit you for a meeting. And then if you ask about, the kind of a secrecy about the contract. You don't have details about the contract. Who is the organizer? How much are you going to be paid? And even the fact, even if you dare to ask, so doyen, senior, please, how much are we going to be paid for this contract? Then it's like, you have offended him. How would you dare? Are you working because you are passionate about the profession, or because of money? Well, you know, this debate about passion and money and all that. We don't work to then go the next day and shred your hand and ask money from your father or from a friend or uncle. We work in to make a living as well. Not only because we're passionate about our professions. If I'm a driver, I'm driving because I probably like driving. But in addition to that, I want to make a living from my profession. So why would it offend any recruiter that I will ask, how much am I going to be paid for my job, for my services? That's what I'm calling interprocultism, this which is observed in many countries, especially in our sub-region in West Africa here. I don't know the case. When we get to the Q&A session, I will be really, really happy if some of you can take the floor and tell us if in your region, for example, Mia in Lebanon from Beirut can tell us if interprocultism exists in Lebanon, and others as well in the Arab region, and those connecting from elsewhere can tell us what their take is on that. So by joining AIIC, you avoid interprocultism. Any AIIC member who will recruit you for any contract will tell you, these are the details, this is how much you're going to be paid. If it's a WHO meeting, the rates are known. If it is a private sector contract, you get information, document. There are senior colleagues who you realize that when they recruit you, even asking for documents, they will just ask you, are you an interpreter or not? When you are a trained interpreter, you just laugh at such a question that, oh, well, because I'm a good interpreter, or I'm supposed to be a professional interpreter, so I'm not supposed to request for working documents? Oh, come on. Well, so joining AIIC will avoid that. You will avoid that. That's interprocultism is what is not in it for you. Dépannage, the concept of dépannage. Well, if you are in some regions of AIIC, you probably know senior colleagues who will accept 2 or 3 contracts for the same day. Don't know how a human being can divide himself into 2 or 3. He will accept 2 contracts, say, in the same day, and then call a junior, and sometimes, okay, let me give a simple example here. Someone who has a contract from Monday to Wednesday, and then a second contract from Wednesday to Friday. As you can see, there's overlapping on Wednesday. So there's no way, how would you be in 2 meetings, especially physical meetings, because what I've been hearing now and then, ever since COVID started and we've moved to virtual meetings, is that sometimes colleagues have 2 laptops and 2 virtual meetings. But this is not the subject. What I'm talking about was in physical, when we were in physical meetings, colleagues accepting 2 contracts with overlapping days, instead of normally, as recommended by AIIC Code of Ethics and AIIC standards, is to simply turn down a contract when you're already busy. You already have another, either you choose the best, the contract you feel is the best for you, or you simply turn down one of the contracts. That's it. You turn down 1 contract, but not accepting 2 contracts with overlapping days. But the dépannage, to come back to that concept of dépannage, is that then the colleague will call you and say, hey, Moudachirou, are you free on Wednesday? Are you available for a meeting? Yes, I am. Okay, so I have a meeting for you on Wednesday. Go to Hotel X and Y, go to Hilton. So when you get there, ask for this colleague and tell him you are the one I've sent you. It's when you get on the spot that you realize that it's a meeting from Wednesday to Friday, and you wonder, okay, why is it that this senior colleague asked me just to replace him for only one day? Is he sick? You realize that he's not sick. It's not a health issue. It's simply because he's busy on another contract. He wants to cover the whole week because he can't divide himself into two. Then he will call you for dépannage. So go and replace me on Wednesday, and I will come on Thursday and continue the contract, which is not correct in AIIC sense. Even outside AIIC, I mean, this is not something acceptable. You cannot divide yourself into two. You have either you accept a contract or you turn it down. So dépannage is not in AIIC for you. And you have triangulation. Well, I will not go too much into triangulation. That's not another concept in the gray market. And you have also what I called contract hijacking. Also, these are things that you will not find in AIIC. Joining AIIC will spare you headache. You'll be with colleagues who are very transparent, who will help you, who will mentor you if need be, who will support you in your work, your first days in the profession. Thank you. Now, what's in it for you? This is a result of one of the, a screenshot, my discussion with Madame Carole Moudachirou, one of the best French booths in our region, in Africa or in the world. Madame Carole Moudachirou is one of our senior interpreters. She's from Benin, and she was telling me the added value. Je voudrais aussi avoir votre expérience. Quelle est la valeur ajoutée que l'AIIC vous a apporté? This is her response. And by the way, I thank her very much from the deepest part of my heart for accepting to mention her name, because the micro survey was supposed to be anonymous, but she gave me the authorization. You know, confidentiality is a must for interpreters. She gave me the authorization and permission to use her name and even share her thoughts. So the joining AIIC has improved her level, her requirements in terms of interpreting, and this also pushed her to work more her skills, to develop her skill, and also to deserve what is called mériter ma qualité de membre de l'AIIC. Every member, when you join the association, you want to become like the others, because as the Yoruba proverbs put it, when a leaf stays long in contact with soap, it becomes soap. When you're in contract, birds of a feather flock together, isn't it? So when you become a member of association where everybody is producing, giving the highest output, you want to be in the same level. So this makes you to work your skills, not lowering your guard. And also, of course, this gave her visibility, cela m'a sorti de l'isolement, and also peace of mind for her. Peace of mind because, as she said, a micro survey, I thank her once again for giving me the authorization and permission to mention her name here. Well, joining AIIC, prerequisites and process. AIIC has a committee on admission and language classification called CACLE. CACLE is sits twice a year if things haven't changed, I believe. So to study, scrutinize your dossiers, your membership applications. And the prerequisites to become AIIC member, first of all, you have the AIIC Code of Professional Ethics and the professional standards. You have to abide by, that's, I will say personally, in my opinion, that's the most important requirement. The most important prerequisites for you to become a member of AIIC is to abide by the AIIC Code of Professional Ethics and AIIC Professional Standards. That's the first thing. And to join AIIC, you have pre-candidates and candidates. Candidates are colleagues who have already worked 150 days under, I mentioned this, under AIIC conditions, and pre-candidates are new budding interpreters, new interpreters, those who are newly coming into the market, or newly graduated interpreters who have less than 150 days. So they can join the association as pre-candidates, and when they will reach the 150 days, then they can now apply to become fully fledged members of the association. Before you join AIIC, you need sponsors. The process is with sponsorship. Sponsors are people, AIIC members, who agree to observe you at work in real circumstances, not in a mock booth or at home or exercise or whatever. People who observe you work in real conference setting and vouch for your professional skills and work ethics. Work ethics is very, very important here. Your work ethics, as I said, it's not all about I'm competent, I can interpret whatever, I'm graduated, I'm very competent, I'm skillful, I'm talented. It's not enough to become a member of AIIC. In addition to the skills, which is very, very important, of course, well, you need to abide by the code of ethics and the standards. And which is the reason why sponsors, before sponsoring you, they would like to know you, they will discuss with you, they will tell you what this profession is all about, again, and how the association advocates for the profession, and why members are the ambassadors of the association and the profession. We are not only ambassadors of our profession, but also of the association, but also of the profession, because whatever you do as a member of AIIC or as an interpreter has an impact on the overall profession. Well, to help you, mentor you, and guide you in the AIIC joining process and the membership process, you have the VIGA network, AIIC's Global Outreach and Mentoring Network, volunteer members who are ready to help you. VIGA, you can contact them at viga@aiic.org. I'm mentioning here that at the end of the presentation of my talk, at the end of this, for people who are interested in getting this, the slides, I will be very happy to share that. At the end of the slide, you have my email address, and also I believe if you reach out to the Africa Region Bureau, you'll be able to get the slides. So viga@aiic.org, they're there ready to help. AIIC is a family, AIIC is an association where you feel at home, and I do encourage once again everyone to join AIIC. Now, coming to the tips. Well, ready, steady, apply. So if you, with all that we have shared now, with the testimony by Madame Carol Moudachirou that I've shown you, and all that, why wait? When you can join now? Even if you don't have the 150 days, join. Come, join us. AIIC is a good family. It's, you know, you can do all the things that I've told you, and you also know the things that are not in AIIC for you. So you know the things that are there. AIIC Secretariat will be happy. VIGA members will also be very, very happy to help you. So get your fee ready. There's a pretty small fee before you join to study your dossier. Get it ready and get the other documents ready as well, and complete the process online. Now, CACLA has moved the process from paper process that was to online process. You can complete the process online. I'm not very sure whether, in addition to the online process, you still need to send paper copies of your document to Geneva. Senior colleagues who are present here will probably take the floor at the end of my talk to share thoughts about that. Well, the other tip, keeping meeting records and statistics. miss. If you want to join AIIC, less AIIC means you missing. When you miss someone, it means that you love the person. So miss, make it short and simple. Make it short and simple. Miss AIIC. Join AIIC, miss it. AIIC is a lovely family, and making it simple. What I mean here is that the process can become daunting if you don't take some measures up front. Anytime you have a meeting, please, what I have done is a bit late, of course, but I'm sharing my experience here, is that I now have an Excel sheet. With that Excel sheet, every meeting, I'll put the title of the meeting, and there's something I'm calling meeting metadata. The metadata. Metadata is for every meeting that you're covering, just keep the track records, because the title of the meeting, the date of the meeting, and now a metadata will be whether the meeting is virtual or physical. This is something now with the new normal because of COVID-19. You will probably want to mention, because in the future it might come handy and helpful. You mention whether the meeting was physical or virtual. In addition to that, it's important to mention who are the colleagues you have worked with. Till now, every meeting that I cover, in most cases, I put cabine française, the colleagues with whom I've worked. When it's a huge meeting where you have 20, 50 colleagues, I just mention the names of the colleagues in French booth. That's what I do. This is my personal, my process. So for every meeting, keep the records, title of the meeting, date of the meeting, country, venue, even the hotel. These are what I call the metadata, and the names of the colleagues with whom you've worked, because believe me or not, after 4-5 years, sometimes if you are asked that meeting that you covered in Hilton, please, housekeeping again, kindly mute your microphone. You have the opportunity to take the floor in a few minutes. I think we are coming close to the, wow, almost. Okay, let me go a bit faster, because this is not, the meeting is not interpreted, so I can allow myself to go a bit faster. So, well, keep the records, the metadata, every single detail that you believe you can keep, just keep it, because it will be very, very important for you in the process. Because in the AIIC joining process, you need to mention for the 150 days that are required, you mention the date, the title of the meeting, if it's a meeting on nuclear energy or nuclear power or whatever, if it's energy on COVID-19, a meeting on COVID-19, you have to mention the title of the meeting as on your contract. And also, you might want to have a folder on your computer where you save all your contracts. If you have a contract with us, ECOWAS, you have a folder. What I do personally is that for every year I classify the folders per year. I have, if you ask me a contract that for a meeting that I covered in 2017, for example, I just go to the 2017 folder and I will see if it's AFDB, African Development Bank contract, I will, if it is ECOWAS, African Union, OIC, Organization of Islamic Cooperation, World Bank, IMF. So you classify. It's up to you to choose the way. And I believe on YouTube, you can find tutorials on record keeping, where you can learn a few tips about how you arrange your folders on your laptop. So it will make it simple, because you need that in the AIIC membership process when you apply and send your file to CACO. Moving on, the negotiating sponsors. Well, this is also an important part of these are things that you will not find on Google, as I said. So first of all, AIIC members are humans. And when you're talking of human beings, you have what I call over generous human beings. You have generous human beings, you have stingy human beings. So AIIC members, please once again, housekeeping, please mute your microphones, please. So AIIC members, as I was saying, are human beings. And as human beings, well, you have generous members, you have moderately generous members, you have over generous members, and you have stingy members. What I mean by that is, hello, let me quickly, just a minute. Maxime Tossou, please, Maxime Tossou, could you please mute your microphone? The host. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you so much for muting Mr. Tossou's microphone. So I was saying that AIIC members, please, AIIC members are human beings. So don't expect, they're not supercomputers or robots or whatever. So we have different categories. So this is where I'm coming back to my short story at the beginning. A human being is a human being. Someone may be generous with Mr. A or Mrs. A, and be miser with Mrs. B and Mrs. A. So sometimes, well, not sometimes, often people have what we call reputation, and you say, oh, Moudachirou is such and that, is people will describe it. That's the reputation, what 90% of people say about someone. That's what I call a reputation. They might say, he's generous, he's this, he's that. But when you meet him, for one reason or the other, he's a human being, you might find the contrary of what people say about him, the reputation. Just like the lucky tenant who moved to the new house and was there thinking that the caretaker or house manager or whatever you want to call him is so generous, he doesn't bother, he doesn't harass him. Sometimes he's on the 12th or 20th of the month that he will pay the rent that he's supposed to pay on the 5th. Well, thinking that that is he's the most generous, the most kind, the most wonderful house manager in the world. Well, the reputation, his reputation is not that. Just because you've heard something about an AIIC member, it doesn't mean you should refrain from going to that person and negotiating him to sponsor you. You hear lots of things about people which are not true sometimes. So it's important for you to go sometimes to get the information from the source. I even talked about contract hijacking, whereby senior, sorry to come back to that, the contract hijacking is whereby some colleagues will prevent you from getting a contract. How? Someone might try to call you, and because it's a weekend, you put off your phone, he's not able to contact you, and contact another colleague and say, I've been trying to contact Maria Neme. I have a meeting for her next week because it's her language combination and something like, so either do you have an idea where she is? Or so, oh, no, don't worry. She's already on a contract. I am the one who put her on that contract. She's working from in that period. While it's not true. Well, this is what I called contract hijacking. I mean, someone diverting, like a plane hijacking, someone diverting the contract to someone else, either because he wants the contract for himself or because he wants the contract for someone else. Well, these are things that you will not find in AIIC. That's what is not in AIIC for you. But coming here, AIIC members are humans. If you want to go and negotiate, just go. The reputation, because someone told you, Madam X and Y, she never sponsors anyone. In 30 years career, she has sponsored only one person. It doesn't mean if you go, you will not be sponsored. Because the house manager is harassing people, will send reminder, pay your rent and all that. It doesn't mean that he'll treat everyone like that. That's just for you. Now, read the rules carefully. AIIC members are not computers, as I said earlier on. When you go and meet a senior colleague, and you said, well, I went through the guide that has been produced by Cackle, and they say I need 3 sponsors, 2 sponsors for my A language, and 2 sponsors as well for my B language. And for the A language, I need to have 2 colleagues who have A in that A language, in my A language. And also, these should be colleagues who have 5 years experience in that language combination. And I've gone through the directory. I've seen that you joined AIIC in 1995, for example. So all that shows the senior colleagues to whom you've been that this is a serious candidate. You are serious because you show you've done your homework. This is what I'm saying here. You've done your homework. You know, you've read through the rules carefully. You know that, okay, I need 3 sponsors. There are things that are technical that probably you wouldn't understand. Even myself, I can't pretend I understand all the rules. If you ask me, I'm not a member of Cackle. And I remember even before, while joining, I had to ask my sponsors many questions. So do you think I can use this? Do you think I can, could you please suggest a sponsor to me and all those? So you yourself, you should understand your needs. Understanding your needs will build trust with the person to whom you're going to request for sponsorship. And be in touch. Be in touch here, it means that don't just jump one day and go and meet Madame Kwaovi and say, Madame Kwaovi, I'm Dembele. I graduated from Buea 10 years ago, and I want to join AIIC. I want you to sponsor me. She doesn't know you. If she doesn't know you, how on earth do you want her just like that? So be in touch. If you intend to become a member of our August association, please identify your potential sponsors, be in touch with them, reach out to them, share news. When I say share news here, if you have special achievements, for example, you took part, you attended a training, there's an upcoming training on voice, for example, voice coaching, hosted by AIIC Belgium. I don't remember exactly, but for example, if you have attended such a training, which is open to members and non-members alike, I think, you can share that. This is good piece of information. Share that with your potential sponsor. Oh, Tonton, or Tata, last week, or I've attended this training. I received a certificate. Oh, fantastic. That's good. It shows your commitment. It shows your willingness to join the association. It shows that you are serious. Well, news about the profession. If you've heard something, you think this is new information about the profession, or there's a new, like recently I discovered there's a Togolese inventor who invented a device for remote interpreting. And I shared it with some of my trainers. I shared it with some of my trainers that this is an invention from Africa. We're proud as Africans. People used to think that in Africa there's no invention, everything has been invented elsewhere. But in Africa we do invent. This is someone who has invented something for interpreters. Fantastic. I share the information. So be in contact, share good information, any news you have about the profession, which is a good way to be in touch with your sponsors. You build trust with the sponsors, and you portray yourself as someone serious, someone who deserved to be sponsored. Ask for genuine guidance. If you're confronted with the situation, someone offering you a contract, and you feel, well, this contract, I'm not sure if it's something I should accept or not, reach out to your mentor, to your potential sponsor. Explain the situation and ask for his guidance and follow the good guidance. When I say follow good guidance, if you call me, you ask for guidance on an issue, and I tell you, never ever accept that. No, that's not a contract for you to accept. If at the end of the day I get information that you have accepted that contract, well, I won't be happy. Well, if you come to request for sponsorship, I probably won't accept to sponsor you, because you requested for guidance. I have guided you, I have given you my opinion, and you didn't follow it. So this is what I mentioned here as follow good guidance. Good guidance, it means that when someone is telling you, see, take the AIIC standards, the document on AIIC standards, you see on page this and that this is something unacceptable in our profession. So don't accept that contract. If you go ahead and accept the contract, well, if at the end of the day, someone informs me about that, I won't be happy. I won't be happy. So that's it. Request feedback when working together. When you have the opportunity, it's not always easy, especially for budding interpreters, new graduates, to have the opportunity to work with senior, experienced AIIC interpreters. When you have the opportunity to work with them, even just ask. Not only, I'm not limiting this to AIIC members, is any senior interpreter. There are interpreters who are not members of AIIC, but are very good interpreters. Just request feedback. What do you think about my performance? What are the suggestions, the recommendations that you want to formulate for me to improve my level? These are things that you ask, and ask that. If you have the opportunity to meet and work with your potential sponsor, ask for feedback. And then after all that, ask for sponsorship. So this is here a question to the house. What have you noted here? What have you noted? Ayat, Teama, Hervé, Pondecon. Any answer? What have you noted here in this slide? Quickly, so that I can wrap up. What have you noted? Anyone who wants to take the floor, tell me, what have you noted on this slide? Oh, let me put the slide so that you can tell me what you have noted. Ashil Yaya, anything you have noted on this slide? What have you noted? Oh, my participants are shy. Are they? Aren't they? Well,
hi, I'm
yes,
here.
Go ahead. Yes, yes.
Here I'm noted, how can we really have great sponsors, and how can we represent ourselves and learn from them in a professional way before rushing to just seek sponsorship or just ignoring their advices. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I couldn't identify who spoke. So Justice Nyigide, I hope I'm not mispronounced. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Justice
Don't mind,
Nyigide.
you tried. You did well. Thank you for giving me the floor. I personally feel that it's quite interesting what you just said. Well, it will be overwhelming, the guidance, but it's just common sense, and do so respectfully. To get to a sponsor, well, you have to make sure that you're ready to abide by the guidance or whatever advice you're giving.
Yes.
And then professionally, you should make your own research. Going through the guidance, there could be things you may not understand. As you just told us, as a member of AIIC, there are still things you're learning about. You don't have all the answers. So with modesty and humility, we should approach this membership thing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have another hand. Is Mr. I can't see your name, sorry, but go ahead, take the floor. Hello, that's a participant.
Hello?
I can, yes, hello, yes, go ahead, please.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you
It's
now.
Fawaz Adamwa.
Fawaz, yeah, Fawaz, this is my brother. Yeah, go ahead, please. Everybody's my brother, so, but yes, go ahead, Fawaz.
What I've noticed from your presentation is that joining AIIC is a process. It's a process, and it requires steps.
Yes.
It's not just about waking up in the morning and decide to join AIIC. It doesn't work that way. It requires process, and one must be ready and available to learn and to adjust. It's very important. You just don't come and say, I want to join AIIC. You must be somebody who is available and ready to learn for you to have the opportunity of joining that August association.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Fawaz. Well, you will note here that ask for sponsorship comes as last. It's the last after all this. So ask for sponsorship on this slide, you can see is the last step. It means that please do follow up the other steps before you come to asking for sponsorship. It's the last thing you do. Don't put it first. And that's what I wanted to say here. And also strike a balance between, well, if you go to a sponsor, it's a negotiation process, as I said. Strike a balance between how long you're requesting, for how long you're waiting. Some people might tell you, well, okay, you want me to sponsor you, so I'll be thinking about that. Let me observe you. And the person keeps observing you 1 year, 2 years, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. So will you wait for 10 years for someone to observe you? Well, it might be that the person doesn't want to sponsor you. So, which is I'm asking here that you strike a balance between, don't rush, don't expect someone. When you request something, a request, I always say in my talks that there's a difference between a request and an instruction. If you come to me and say, give me, could you help with $10? You're making a request. It's different from instructions. When you're giving an instruction is, give me $10 and you have to give it. I have no choice but to give it. That is, you're giving instruction. But a request is a request. You're requesting for some sponsorship. It means that the person can say yes or no. If the person can only say yes, it's not a request, it's an instruction. It's an order that you're giving. Well, for any request, don't feel offended when someone says, well, I don't want to sponsor you. As I said, AIIC members are human beings. You have over-generous human beings who give money to everyone, even those who don't need it, even those who don't deserve to receive money. And you have people who are moderately generous, and you have people who are miser or stingy. So that's it. So strike a balance. If you're waiting, someone is saying, well, let me observe you for some time before I sponsor you. It's correct, it's normal. Of course, I will have time, even if I know you as a person, we are in the same country or whatever, and we have worked together. It's from the day you declare that you want to join the association, that you declare that I want you to sponsor me, that I will start now considering that I will go back in my memory to see, okay, for the past few years that I've known this guy or this lady, how has she been behaving in the profession and all that and all. So, but now I will be doing an active effort to monitor, to follow you, which is the reason why it's normal to say, okay, give me some time, but then give me sometimes, if it shouldn't turn into 20 years, observing you for 20 years, well, it's a whole career, isn't it? So let's move on to the making AIIC ethics a way of life. You know, in Taekwondo, your Taekwondo master will always tell you, in Taekwondo, I should mention here that in Taekwondo, the kicks, the legs play an important part of the martial arts. So most of the attacks in Taekwondo, the most destructive, the mass destruction weapon in Taekwondo is the leg, the kicks. And your master will always tell you while training, shoot for the highest level. You shoot for the head. In Taekwondo, when you kick your opponent in Olympic Taekwondo, when you kick your opponent on the head, you have 3 points. It used to be that. There are reforms, so I can't say 100% now, but you have 3 points. But when you kick him in the hugo, the shield, you have only 1 point. So your master will always tell you, kick the head, shoot for the head, always be looking for the top, for the excellent, for the best. So that if you make it a habit, every time you are training, you shoot, you shoot for the head, so that even when you're tired, you see, when you go for Taekwondo training, when you go for your training and all that, when you start, you have energy, you can kick, you have what we call the kia. The kia is the shout you emit, you request it to show that, to show your opponent that you fit, you ready for the fight, you ready for the bout. So this is something that will always, I ask you, when you have energy, you shoot high, but you realize that after 15 minutes, after 10 minutes, it's difficult for you to go that high. You'll be shooting and kicking maybe the shoulder, kicking the stomach, and that's you're getting tired. So you need to make AIIC ethics a way of life. If you make the best the way of life, you whether in the booth, whether in outside the booth, ethics, the standards, the way you carry yourself and all that. If you make it a way of life, it becomes your nature. It becomes la seconde nature. So, and in jiu-jitsu is a Brazilian martial arts, whereby you use locks and submissions. The locks, hand locks and all those things. While training, your master will always ask you to repeat the same action 10 times, 20 times, and all that. And when you are a learner, whether in Taekwondo, Kung Fu, Aikido, and all that, in most cases, when you're a new learner, you'll be wondering, oh, this master, I've mastered this thing. Why don't we move to a new move or a new punch or a new kick? I've known this. Why is he asking me to repeat the same action? Because he wants you to make it a way of life. It becomes so natural in you that even when you're sleeping and someone comes to attack you, you can do the Are Maki or Elugul Maki in Taekwondo, well, all those things. And Bruce Lee, that many of you know, if not all, Bruce Lee, one of the best fighters of Kung Fu, he's quoted to have said that, I, Bruce Lee, am not afraid of 1,000 punches that my opponent has learned, but I fear the one punch that my opponent has practiced 1,000 times. May I repeat? I am not afraid of 1,000 different punches that my opponent knows, but I'm afraid of the one punch that he has practiced 1,000 times, meaning that practice it, make it a way of life. If you have practiced a punch 1,000 times, when you give that punch to someone, he's down, he's down. It's KO, knockout. So AIIC ethics is not limited to the AIIC membership process. You should make it a way of life before joining, while joining, and after joining the association. Remember, membership of AIIC can be lost. AIIC has a disciplinary committee. Your membership can be lost. So remember that. Saving for the future. Well, here, this is an article that I published in early 2020 when the COVID-19 impact has become severe and there was lockdown everywhere in the world. I published this article about coronavirus versus conference industry. Well, by Moudachirou Gbadamassi. I will share the slide, as I said, and this is something that you can go, for those who haven't read that article, about saving. It's important. And in that article, I did talk about the Ebola crisis that affected West Africa, 3 countries back then, 2013, 2014. And freelance interpreters specifically have suffered a lot during the Ebola crisis because of that epidemics back then. Meetings were cancelled in West Africa. Many colleagues, whether AIIC members or non-members, suffered a lot from the situation. Because sometimes when you make a lot of money, it's not in every profession that you can make $468 a day. That's AU rate, or $952 a day for small team with the African Development Bank. So it's not in every profession that you can have that opportunity. Even the smallest rates that some colleagues complain about, the $350 a day in large team, well, it's not in every profession that you can have that on a daily basis, a daily rate, in addition to per diem and other things. Well, because you're making a lot of money, there's a tendency that you spend a lot, you in your family, you are the star and everybody reaches out to you when someone has headache, and even when they don't have, when someone wants an iPad that they don't even know how to use, they will just reach out to you, and you are over generous sometimes. But when crises like Ebola or coronavirus pandemic come, you realize that you are vulnerable. And to limit your vulnerability, I'm suggesting here that you join is CEPIT or CEPIC. CEPIT is, well, the Pension Fund for Conference Interpreters and Translators is a non-profit, you know, is a fund set up by interpreters and translators for interpreters and translators. Well, they're based in Geneva. I have inserted here, I put a link to the website. Well, you free the amount that you contribute every year depends on you. And when you decide to retire at 60 or even before that, as long as when you are AIIC member, you know, membership is very easy. The process is really very easy because, but when you're not AIIC member, I think that there are documents that you need to submit to show that you are a conference interpreter or a translator, and you can join that pension fund. That's CEPIT. Caisse de pension des interprètes et traducteurs de conférences. And you also have CEPIC. CEPIC, which is Caisse de prévoyance des interprètes de conférences. That doesn't include translators. It's only for conference interpreters. And that's more than 70 years in existence, based in Geneva also. And the performance, the average annual performance is about 6.62%, which is very good. So this is it. Well, danke schön, shukran jazilan, obrigado, thank you very much. I wish to thank Sylvia Amisi for her support and the entire AIIC Africa Bureau for the support for hosting this event. I'm really, really happy. I'm proud to be a member of this profession. I'm happy and proud to be a member of the association. I'm happy and proud to be a member of our region, African region. And I would like to thank also Madame Carole Moudachirou, one of my mentors. I thank her. And also Elolo Kumoji, I thank my mentor, I thank him. And Achille Yaya, thank you very much. So thank you so much for sharing this on social network platforms, and also to Naufal Salami, who designed the flyer. Thank you very much. For those who are interested in receiving the slide, as I said, kindly send me an email to m.gbadamassi@aiic.org. I will be very, very happy to share with you. And also, I have my YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube, Coach Moudachirou Gbadamassi. If AIIC Africa allows it, this is being recorded. Be aware of that. It's being recorded, and if I have the permission, I'll publish this the recording of this session, of this talk, on my YouTube channel. Thank you very much. Now open for questions and answers. Sorry for taking longer than planned. I wanted to cover all the items that I prepared. Well, the moderator, the facilitator, Sylvia, yeah, over to you.
I'll help you just moderate this session. Good afternoon, good morning, everyone. Pleased to see you. We have one hand up from Raquel Otilia Jones. Could you kindly just restate your name and tell us where you're from before you ask your question?
Thank you very much for the presentation. My name is Raquel Jones. I'm from South Africa. I am a recent interpreting graduate. I actually studied with Brandon Molt, who introduced himself earlier. I am quite interested in the pre-candidacy. As I graduated last year, middle of last year, we came into this world now in this very complicated time for the profession. And I just like some clarity on whether it is possible as recent graduates who have actually not had any experience in real-world interpreting, obviously not in a physical booth, but not in RSI either, if it's still fine to ask other members to present us because they are not sponsors for the pre-candidacy. And my question is also related to the phrasing on the site, which specifically states that they must present you and confirm that you really do work as a conference interpreter. Now, while I'd like to work as a conference interpreter, as I said, I've not had any real world experience. So I'd just like some clarity on that point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sylvia, how do we go about this? Are we taking...
You could respond to her question as we wait for other hands to be raised.
Thank you very much. Thank you for asking this interesting question. Well, for pre-candidates, I believe you still need sponsors. You still need sponsors. I don't know where you read that for pre-candidacy you don't need sponsors, because I personally sponsored a pre-candidate. So, which is the reason why I think you need sponsors for pre-candidates. And for someone who has not worked yet, well, don't feel disappointed. The opportunity will come. It will probably come. The first thing, as I said, reach out to potential sponsors. Even the fact that you reach out to potential sponsors, letting them know that you have just graduated and you are well ready to work, and the introduction itself is even enough in some cases to secure you a contract. Saying, okay, we have a junior colleague here, let me give her an opportunity. And then it starts like that. And you have the opportunity to work, and I believe whether virtual or physical, the opportunity will come. And I would also like to invite many of my senior colleagues who are present here, who maybe even know calculus processes more than I do, to feel free to take the floor and respond, give the insights about the various questions that will be asked here. Thank you very much. I hope I have answered your question.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, we have Aya Teama.
Well, good afternoon. My name is Aya Teama. I'm from Egypt, and I'm studying at the Faculty of Alson at AIN Shams University. Actually, I have two questions. The first one is, I have been working as an interpreter on a TV channel as a full-time interpreter for 1 year before this TV channel was shut down. Accordingly, I have a certification of 1 year as a full-time, but actually I didn't work every day, or I didn't work for 8 hours every day, because we were like TV programs, we just go live for 20 minutes maximum, but not that regular. So how can I count 150 days of experience? This is number one. Number two, because it was a TV channel, like in Egypt, I used to interpret only from English into Arabic. I've never worked vice versa. Like I didn't interpret from Arabic into English. Can I still be a member while I can only interpret one way and not the other way, or not? Thank you so much.
Over to you, Mouda.
Thank you very much, Sylvia, and thank you very much, Aya. شكرا جزيلا على السؤال. Well, regarding the TV channel, what you could do is to request a certificate. You said you do have a certificate, but then ask the head of the unit, the translation or interpretation unit of the channel, to assess in terms of days. This could be okay for the whole year you've worked. As you said, it's not every day that you work, which is understandable, logical. Well, it could be after assessing, they could say, okay, this amounts to 40 days of interpreting. And as I said, CACOL's members are ready. They're very open to help with that. You can even send an email to the committee and say, this is my situation, I've worked, and explain everything. And they will tell you if there's a way, a schedule they use to calculate that, and say, okay, if you on TV say every day you on TV or interpreting for 2 hours, for example, for the whole day, and you've worked there for a whole year, maybe 3 times a week, they can give you a way to assess that, and that you use that in your process. That certificate can be used, and probably you need to complete. And one thing I want to mention also is that I'm not sure if in 1 year someone can have the 150 days, because the 150 days, remember, it should be under AIIC conditions, under AIIC standards, not just any meetings. Before joining the association, I have covered so many meetings, but when now sorting the meetings I wanted to present, meetings for which you can give an evidence. If you requested to show a contract, you can show a contract. Not meetings for which just someone just called you and then you walk in and you without any contract, nothing. You have to be able to show the contract for which you've worked. If you mention any single day, it's not that they're not asking you to send the contract, but they may ask you, and you better have the contract when they come to you and say, okay, could we see your contract for the meeting you said you held at Hilton in Abuja or something like that. Yeah. Now, regarding the B language, I believe even if you you've been working from English into Arabic, Arabic is your A language, and English, is English your B language or C language? Yes. Because the fact that you have never worked into English doesn't mean it's not a B language. I mean, in your training, you trained as an Arabic A, English B. If that is your training, you go ahead and you can maybe request a waiver from AIIC, or you can simply go first by stages. First of all, you request to join as Arabic A, English C, because you don't have people to sponsor your B because you've never worked into B. And then as time goes by, and then you have the opportunity to now work into B, and you have an AIIC member to listen to your B, and then you have the sponsors, you can then move on to ask for what is called reclassification, and then your C, your English C, will now be reclassified as B language. These are the two processes that you can use. In any case, feel free. Viga network is there. I will share the slides. You have their contacts there. CACO members will be very, very happy to help, and others as well. And when your potential sponsor in your region, and I am mentioning here that amongst your 3 sponsors, you should have at least 2 who are from your region. At least 2 should be from your region, because it's believed that people from your region know, it's easier for them to know you better than people from other regions. Thank you very much. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you, Moudachirou. I'd like to invite Elizabeth Kwavi to give further clarifications on language combination.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Can you get me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we
loud
can.
and clear.
Okay, good. Thank you, Moudachirou, for a great presentation on AIIC. I just wanted to reply to this language combination question by saying that a lot of AIIC would-be interpreters do not know what is a language combination. So I invite you to do your homework to learn what is an A language, what is a B language, and what is a C language. Because there is a lot of confusion when receiving the, CACL will tell you that there is a lot of confusion when receiving the applications on the languages. So people will just randomly tick A and B. For example, I only have 2 languages, French and English, so therefore French is my A and B, and English is my B. No, you don't have a B because you only have 2 languages. So do your homework, talk to your sponsors, and get your language combination right. The second thing, since I have the floor, is to say that obviously senior colleagues receive a lot of solicitations and requests for sponsorship. Personally, don't know in which category I am, if generous, over generous, or stingy, but what I can say is that my general philosophy is that when you reach a certain age, you do not change your character. Therefore, if you are a crook, you'll be at 30, 40 years old when you apply for sponsorship. I don't expect the AIIC sponsorship to change you into an angel. Therefore, I believe that everybody can learn and improve their competencies as an interpreter. You may not be a great interpreter, a virtuose interpreter, but you can learn and you can improve. But if you're a dishonest interpreter, there's no way the AIIC sponsorship, the AIIC, being a member of AIIC will change you. So I personally put more emphasis on the values, on the ethical values, on the standards, on the honesty of the would-be AIIC interpreter. I give more importance to the ethics than to the competence. So you may be a very average interpreter, but if you are willing to learn, willing to reach excellence, and you are honest, and you want this association to thrive, you want to contribute, and I can see by your behavior that you will be an additional value, an added value to the association. I will sponsor you wholeheartedly. But if I see that you're an excellent interpreter, but have a very bad behavior on your market, well, don't count on me for sponsorship. Thank you very much for giving me the floor.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Could we have more questions from participants, please, to Mouda?
Thank you so much, Madam Kwaovi, for this wonderful insight. And if Mr. Elolo Kumuji is around, I'd like to respectfully invite him for his testimony. Is Mr. Kumuji around?
Yes, he's around.
Oh, thank you so much. Rebonjour.
Good morning, good afternoon to all.
Thank you very much. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. But in actual fact, what do you want me to say?
I would like your testimony. Actually, I would like your testimony about what added value AIIC has given you. What has AIIC brought you? Because before becoming a member of AIIC, you were a non-member. And then when you became a member of AIIC, what has changed? What is the added value?
Yeah.
So this is what I'd like you to share with us. Thank you very much.
Let me divide my career in phases. As a non-member AIIC number between 1990 to 1999 when I joined AIIC. Then as an AIIC member, I was professional interpreter, and I joined the ICTR, United Nations Criminal Tribunal for Rwanda, in 2004. Between 2004 and 2016, staff interpreter. Then from 2015 until now, freelance interpreter and entrepreneur. Now, what AIIC has brought to me is, first of all, a sense of belonging to a family. Second thing, it has compelled me somehow to be more professional. Also, as a professional staff member, I had at a point in time to chair what was referred to as Comité de Permanent. I'm sorry, Mouda, you know, I'm not feeling well, so my voice is a bit, you know what I mean?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
I suffered a small problem a few days ago, and
you
so,
did tell.
yeah. Although I was a staff member, a staff interpreter, I kept to my affiliation to AIIC.
Great.
Some of my colleagues, once they joined an organization, decided to withdraw from AIIC. I couldn't do that because for me, wearing the cap of AIIC was very, very important. This has helped me to work in various circles. This has also helped me at times when I wasn't expecting it to be given contracts all over the world for various organizations that I had never dreamt of. That is why for me, although I was having a profession with the UN, although I was paid a good salary, I remained a member of AIIC, a paying member of AIIC, because some of my colleagues, the problem was, how come AIIC doesn't render any service to them, and yet they are kind of encouraged to still be a member of AIIC and continue paying the dues? Out of solidarity, I decided to remain in AIIC until I left the ICTR in 2015. Then 2015 until now, I went back to my natural family, which is AIIC. As a freelance, you know, I started my career as a freelance, then as staff member, and now as a freelance again, although little by little, I'm trying to withdraw from the profession to embrace a new career. As you said, while you're working as an interpreter, make sure you save money. And all the steps that you listed, I was lucky to have very good sponsors, very good friends around, colleagues. May I mention here Achakobe, for instance? These are the guys, the guys that guided my path. And the very day I met him, his motto was, in this profession, you're going to have a lot of money, but prepare for your future. Start preparing your future today. So whether I was a freelance interpreter or a staff interpreter, I kept to that word, and I did what it took or what it takes to become a successful interpreter one day. So AIIC for me is my family. Fantastic. Whether I'm a freelance interpreter, a staff interpreter, yes, or the entrepreneur, I will keep my affiliation to AIIC, and I will contribute whatever way I can.
Thank you.
To make this profession or to pass on that profession to the generations to come.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I will stop here. You know, I'm not okay at all, but because
I know
that event was organized by you, to some extent, I decided to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the continuous mentoring. Thank you so much. I'd like to mention here that Mr. Elolo Kumuji is the one who, after retiring from the United Nations system, when he went back to Togo, Lomé, he organized the National Association of Togo Conference Interpreters. Thank you for all that you've done for the profession and that you continue doing for the profession. Thank you indeed. Sylvia,
thank you.
May we take now?
Yes, we could take questions? 2 more questions. We have a question from Mia and another from Etienne Iwikot.
Iwikotan.
Iwikotan.
Yes,
pardon. So we start with Mia.
Okay. Mia, yes, please.
Yes, thank you. I would like to know what triangulation is.
That is, well, triangulation is not in AIIC. So I'm sure I can see Mr. Iwikota smiling because he probably knows what triangulation is. In the gray market, there's well, okay, in a few words, someone calls you for a meeting that is supposed to be in small team, 2 interpreters, and tells you, okay, Mia, this meeting, the organizer or the employer is for 2 interpreters. But because we are in a low season, we don't have many contracts now, my suggestion would be that let's call a 3rd colleague who will join us, and we will share the rate, the money, the pay of 2 interpreters, we will share it in 3. So that is triangulation. And well, and then when at the end of the day, you go, you do the meeting, 3 interpreters, And in some cases, in some cases, you end up doing the meeting, two of you, because the one who invited you has a program somewhere, leave you there during the meeting and goes to run some errands. And finally, you end up doing the meeting, two of you. Whereas the objective at the beginning was that let's work at three of us so that we'll share the burden. You know, this profession is so hard. Our brains, it strains the brain. So let's work, three of us. We share, it's not a lot of money, we'll share it, and so that we will rest, our health is protected, and we will give the opportunity to a colleague who otherwise would have been jobless, who would have stayed home. So at the end of the day, you realize that in many cases, the objective, which was to rest, to share the burden instead of two interpreters, you finally do the meeting as two interpreters. And you realize sometimes at the end of the day that the client was even paying for three interpreters and not two, so that the person who called you is just, you know, taking the money and then taking two interpreters' money and sharing in three. That's triangulation. I could go further, but because of the time and we have other questions, so that's a bit what triangulation is. Triangulation is not in AIIC. It's not in it for you. That's why I put it in red in the slide. So there is no triangulation in AIIC. Thank you very much. I hope I've answered your question.
Thank you. Yes, it's clear. Thank you.
Thank you, Muda, for those neologisms. I need to add them to my list of neologisms. I'll now invite Etienne, and followed by Kader Ouattara.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for giving me the floor. And thank you, Moudachirou, for this brilliant presentation.
You're welcome.
I have an issue. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, please.
I have an issue with regard to the number of days. When Mr. Ayuk was in Cotonou, he said that for every single day that you pretend to have worked, you need to show extract. But sometimes, most of the time, as you know, in Cotonou here, you are on subcontracting, and the person who is subcontracting you is not ready to give you the source contract. What do we do in order to account for these days where you cannot get the contract? I've been keeping records of my meetings for a long time. I think from 1998, I have the list of all the meetings I've covered, the days and the venue. It's difficult to get all the contracts. What do we do in that case? And I also, to finish, would like to thank all the AIIC members who have come in to provide explanations. It is really a wonderful family. And I can see that because most senior members are there and they have given you the opportunity to give this presentation. It's a wonderful family. I would like to join myself, but the issue I'm confronted with is the issue of contracts, getting the proofs of some of the days I've worked. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, Etienne.
Should I go ahead, Sylvia?
Please.
Yes, thank you, Etienne Iwikota. I would like to, by passing, very quickly mention that Mr. Iwikota Etienne is the chairperson or the president of the association, ANITEB, the National Association of Conference Interpreters and Translators and Equipment Suppliers in Benin. So thank you, President. Well, your question regarding the how to evidence your meetings. One way will be to reach out to if it is a firm, for example, if you've worked with the firms like Symposia, you could request a contract, and in most cases, Symposia will issue a contract to you even if the contract is not about, you could request that, and then you put that in your dossier. And the other thing is, well, I think if you, since 1998, I believe, from 1998 to date, that's 23 years, or 23 years, or yeah, my mathematics, well, I think it's something like about 23 years. I believe if you look through your meetings, you have enough for 150 days, even if most of the meetings you've been covering meetings in the private sector, whereby you are invited by a firm. In many cases, I know, because as a Beninois, having started my career on the local market, I know that many of the firms are firms owned by equipment suppliers who are not interpreters, who do not give us contract back then. So, well, this is a way you can go about that. I mean, for the firms who can give you a contract, I think that can do, and Madame Kwaovi, I stand to be corrected, Madame Kwaovi is around, Sylvia also is around, and other senior, Madame Gibola that I greet by passing, and Senior Eviano Achakube, all these senior colleagues are around, they can talk to that. So this is what I can say in a nutshell. I believe in 23 years of profession, you can have the 150 days where you have contracts with some of the local, I mean, sub-regional organization like our organization, ECOWAS, and other organizations. I believe that. But in case, despite the 23 years, you still don't have that much to show evidence of, then one way will be to reach out to the firms that recruited you and ask for contract. It could be a contract between you and the firm that, okay, the firm so-and-so has a contract between with this organization, and we have some contracted it to you. And I'll leave the floor to senior colleagues to come in to talk to that if there's there is probably something they can say about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Muda. Etienne, I'd also encourage you to explain your peculiar situation to CACL. CACL are very receptive, yes, and they could give you a way out of that situation. Yes. I'd like to now take the last two questions from Kader Ouattara. Hi, Kader, nice to see you. And Patrice Semako, before we conclude this session.
Thank you for giving me the floor, and thank you, Moudachirou, for this.
Kader, could you speak louder?
I'm sorry, I can't. Okay, I couldn't hear Kader.
We need to hear. You need to speak a bit louder.
Okay, thank you, Moudachirou, and thank you, Sylvia, for giving me the floor. And it has been. You can hear me?
Yes, I'm trying to. Yes. Yeah, to cling to the. Yeah, go ahead, please.
So please take another question. I think I'll have to adjust my headset.
Sound is okay now. The sound is okay now. The sound is okay, Kader, you can continue. Okay, we seem to have lost Kader. I'll invite Patrice. Patrice Semako.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Muda, thank you so much for all we are learning from your presentation today.
You're welcome.
And you're talking about sponsored. You just mentioned region. That's 2 of the 3 sponsors must be from your region. But when you talk about region, do you mean Africa? Do you mean ECOWAS or the country level? And to be more specific, in Benin, who do you know can be sponsors in Benin?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the question. Sylvia, may I go ahead and answer?
Yes, please.
Patrice Godonu. Yes, the region is, you have Afro region, Africa region, for example. Well, if you are in Benin, an interpreter, an AIIC member in Ghana can sponsor you, in Senegal, but preference is given to your countrymen. I mean, it's better to have colleagues from your own country, because it's believed that colleagues from your country know better your behavior on the market, how what is your standing regarding AIIC ethics and standards and all that. So it's better for you to find sponsors in your country. Even though the region, when you say region in terms in AIIC terms, it could be Arab region, African region, Europe, Americas, and so on and so forth. So the region is not the country, it's not even West Africa, I believe. It's Africa region, and you have Arab region. When I was in Jeddah, for example, in Saudi Arabia, I was in the Arab region, including Lebanon and Egypt and so on and so forth. So this is the answer. Yes, the last question.
Kader, are you okay now? Could you try once again? Please go ahead, Kader.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yes, clear.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you, Moudachirou, for this brilliant presentation, and thank you, Sylvia. And my question is about the contract.
Okay.
If you said you have to provide a contract, and is there in the AIIC rules any disqualifier regarding the rate that you may present in your contract?
Yes. Thank you, Kader, for your question. I don't think. Let me say. AIIC has what is called the agreement sector. The agreement sector is there are some organizations with which AIIC has signed an agreement, including the rates. Let's say WHO. If you in the list of meetings you're submitting in your application process, if you have a meeting with WHO and you mention in the contract, by magic, it's seen that you paid $100. Well, I believe CACO members will reject that because WHO is part of the agreement, has signed an agreement with the AIIC, and as such, any contract with WHO should comply with the rates that have been negotiated and obtained with WHO. In that sense, the rate could disqualify you. But apart from that, if it's in the private market due to a dispute that has been, well, I don't even have the details of the dispute. Well, AIIC now will not make it mandatory for you to have a specific rate for the private sector. This is my answer, and others can come in and answer as well. We have an employer, Madam Kwaovi here, who's not only an interpreter trainer, senior interpreter, but also an employer as head of TIP, Translation, Interpretation and Printing Section, WHO Afro. She can take the floor and give further details. I hope I've answered your question anyway.
Okay, thank you. Elizabeth, would you like to say something to that last question? Just respond.
Yes, just to say that since we had this litigation with the FTC, it's an old litigation, AIIC was perceived as a cartel. Therefore, we cannot impose any rates. AIIC, when I joined AIIC in 2001, we used to have AIIC rate. This doesn't exist anymore. As Muda has explained, there are conditions that have been negotiated sector by sector, the UN sector, the European Union, the et cetera, et cetera. So we have, AIIC has agreements with sectors that are big employers of interpreters, so that we don't have to negotiate every single contract, including the rates. Apart from that, you are free. If you want to work for free, that's fine. But you cannot work against the AIIC rules, which among them is you cannot work alone, et cetera, et cetera. So do your homework, read the standards, you read the AIIC professional rules, and as long as you abide by the professional rules, you can work for free, and that's okay. You can submit that contract because you work for free, but you worked within the professional rules. You complied with the professional rules, so no problem for that. But this said, I would urge you to always ask for a contract, because this is part of the professionalism. If you call yourself a professional and you go and work like if you were a plumber, people call you and you rush and you work and then you start negotiating the price, that doesn't look very professional. Sure. If you are a professional, you ask the person who called you, send me an email, give me the conditions, and you may tell them that it's for your bank, or because you are asking for a loan. You can find all kinds. You can be very creative, but have a formal relationship with the person employing you. It's very important as a professional. not even considering AIIC. But if you respect yourself, you're a professional, and this is a noble profession. People that cannot just call you like they are calling a plumber in the morning at 8 a.m. We have a meeting at 9 a.m. Come and we'll see for the details later. No, you need a kind of contractual relationship with people. If you call yourself, and I'm happy that you gave me the floor, because there's something very important I would like to say before you close this meeting. What we have realized in the African region, because I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Elizabeth Kwaovi, and I've been a regional secretary. I did 2 terms as a regional secretary for the African region before joining the WHO as the manager of the translation, interpretation, and printing unit. When I was regional, and I am currently a member of the Dispute and Disciplinary Committee of AIIC. I would like to say that AIIC is not what we call in French an association for validation des acquis. Therefore, I'm an interpreter. If I join AIIC, everybody will know that I'm an interpreter. No, it's not. AIIC is not a diploma. AIIC will not give you an interpreter degree. AIIC is not there to make people know that you are an interpreter. No. If you think this is what AIIC will bring you, well, you are wrong. It is because you're an interpreter, because you have the competence, and because you or your peers recognize that you are a professional and you behave as such, that then you are among this family of interpreters. But don't think that the fact of joining AIIC will give you the recognition that you are looking for, because you may not have had the opportunity to train as an interpreter or to be recognized as an interpreter, and you think that having AIIC in your signature will make you become an interpreter. So I would like to really people stop thinking that AIIC is the ground that they're looking for, and as soon as they join AIIC, they are interpreters. You will have to prove your competence at every single meeting. Every single meeting is a test as an interpreter. Thank you.
Thank you for all your answers, and thank you. Special thanks to you, Moudachirou. You have been very helpful, very enriching relationships since I met you at the African Development Bank, and thank you also, Sylvia, for what you have done for me so far. Thank you for the presentation.
Thank you. Okay, on that positive note, I'd like to bring this meeting to a close. I'd like to thank our keynote speaker, Moudachirou. Had I had a talk like this before I joined AIIC, I'd have joined it sooner. It took me 3 years to gain the courage to talk to sponsors and join AIIC, but I'm so happy you've given us an edifying talk. And I'm sure that there are many who read more about AIIC and join our happy family. I'd like to thank the members of the Bureau, Ephraim Kamanzi and Vidya Diaite, who have sacrificed their afternoon to support us during this event, as well as our senior colleagues like Elizabeth Kwaovi, Elolo Kumodzi, Jibola, who left earlier on, Mr. Chakobe, and so many others. I'm happy to see all of you and happy to see so many new faces, and look forward to engaging with you more about AIIC and other issues that affect our profession. I wish you an excellent day, excellent weekend, and look forward to seeing you soon once again. Moudachirou, would you like to say something?
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Well done, Mouda. Well done, Mouda.
You're welcome.
Keep it up.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Very nice.
Merci beaucoup, Moudachirou. Bon weekend.
Bon weekend. Bon weekend.
Muchas gracias.
Have a nice weekend, Mouda.
De nada.
Gracias, gracias, muchas gracias.
De nada,
Obrigada.
de nada, de nada.
Obrigado e bom fim de semana a todos.
De nada.
Asante sana, Muda.
You're welcome.
Obrigado. Bom fim de semana de Moçambique aqui.
Hey, de nada, de nada.
See
De nada.
you
Como
next
vai
time.
você?
Ah, muito bem. E você fala português?
Não, falou pouco de português.
Ah, então venha interpretar aqui em Moçambique também.
Okay.
Yeah, I've asked your email. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, شكرا من جدة. مع السلامة.
Masalama, Moudachirou.
Bonsoir,
merci infiniment. Merci.
Elisabeth, salam alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Ok,
Bachir.
on se verra après, Inch'Allah.
Merci infiniment. Merci à toutes et à tous.
Moudachirou, well done.
Hai fatto bene.
You're welcome, sir.
Sei stato bravissimo.
Obrigado.
Che presentazione. Sono molto contento per te. Grazie.
Thank you.